Good evening, welcome to another Focus on Friday, and tonight we are going to discuss Violet Oakley, the artist that would be the pathmaker for mural and stained glass art is likely very well known to most of you, and you've never even heard her name. Moreover, in a field dominated by men, she would be the one who would set the modern standard for government and divine mural art. Violet was born in June of 1874 in Jersey City, New Jersey, and was a third-generation artist. She studied at the Art Students League of New York under masters of the time. Also, she studied abroad in France and England, and then returned to study at Drexel Institute. Her artistry was very period specific. She was very influenced by the pre-Raphaelian style, which made her very popular until its inevitable decline in the 1950s as things became more modern and utilitarian. She was a committed pacifist, which was also reflected in her art style, and believed in the equality of race and sex in a time when it was deeply unpopular. Her pacifism, in fact, had her move to Geneva after World War I rather than live in a country that was brokering wars and trying to engender them with the League of Nations. And post-World War II, she was a vocal advocate for nuclear disarmament. Despite her love of Quaker ideology, she was what would be known as Christian Scientist after watching them try to combat asthma using rudimentary faiths. And she would stay with that faith up through her death. In her lifetime, she was awarded an honorary doctorate of law degree from Drexel, a gold medal in illustration in the 1904 St. Louis International Exposition. The following year, she was the first female winner of the Gold Medal of Honor from the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, and in 1915, she received the Medal of Honor in the Panama Pacific International Exposition in San Francisco. In 1996, she would be posthumously inducted into the Society of Illustrators Hall of Fame. From 1897 through most of the rest of her life, she organized and advocated for arts and equality along with other luminaries, creating the New Women's Movement, which would bring equality to the societies and financial institutions for women in the arts. She was part of the Red Rose Girls, which were former students of the famed artist Howard Pyle, and the Plastic Club, too, which promoted art for art's sake in a time when science was overtaking any love for art. During this time, she would meet fellow artist Edith Edmondson, and they would be life partners right up through her death in 1961. Today, in fact, both of their graves are part of the Queer Artists Cemetery Tour in New York City. For Americans, her most visible work may be in the Pennsylvania State Capitol building, which has 43 unique murals of her paintings etched on those walls, and she painted 16 murals for the U.S. Senate and the U.S. Supreme Court. When she passed away in 1961, Edith established a foundation to collect and showcase all of her work that wasn't permanently embedded into a church or a government building. But with Edith's death in 1988, all of that art was donated to the Smithsonian, where it is today. Violet was many things and influential in the world of art, but for anyone who's visited many of the government buildings and churches in Washington, D.C. especially, or across the world in churches that would end up taking her patterns to their stained glass style, you've been already influenced by this unassuming yet talented woman. And that is Violet Oakley. You all have a good night.